Welcome to Circle of Hearts Radio. Journey with Grandmother Allayah as she enters her magical world of relics, sacred sites, and ancient crystal skulls. Meet with exciting trailblazer authors and individuals shifting the consciousness of humanity. Send her your questions to be answered on air on her monthly segment, Ask the Oracle. And now your host, Grandmother Allayah, in the sanctuary on the airwaves on OMTimes Radio.
The Circle of Hearts Radio on OMTimes Radio. Welcome to my sanctuary. I'm really excited to have the next two people on. You can tell that they're really super good friends when they're willing to get up and be awake at 5 o'clock in the morning to do an interview with me. Liz and Patrick are in Australia, and they have a beautiful healing space and crystal space there. And they, just to recap a little bit, I met Liz years ago when I first had got on the internet and started my forum, the Sanctuary. And I met Liz, and she had these most amazing crystal beings. And we had talked, and she said, because I was just getting into understanding the crystal skulls, and to her she said, never, I'm not interested in them. Okay, well, they got to her. And she has the most amazing, her and Patrick have the most amazing family of crystal energies in their home. And Liz, I want you to explain a little bit about your center before we start so people know something about it.
Okay, it's lovely to be here. Thank you for asking us again. Well, we're in Australia in the Blue Mountains, right by the national park. And out of our home, we just have a healing center. So we have a part of our house which has a beautiful crystal and sound healing room for therapy, and a meditation room where I can do sound for groups of people, and people can hold crystals and crystal skulls during a meditation, or I can also do workshops on various subjects. So that's pretty much what we do here.
Well, it's, I was going to say, when I get on my sites and stuff, I'm going to put your site down because you would have to see the listing of what they offer and the talks. It's so, there's a great depth to the information that, both her and Patrick share. And the crystal community has been slow in evolving what they have, and a lot of people are getting very drawn to the crystal skulls. And I think it's very important to put good information out there, so once the people are drawn to the skulls, they know what it's all about. So that's why I asked Liz and Patrick to come back on, because I value their information greatly, and a lot of the teachings that they both offer, or sharings, or intuitive space that they share with the crystal skulls. Especially, they have one group that, from what I see, there's not a lot of information out there. And Liz, what would you call them? The Tibetan skulls, with the region as sort of a coordinator?
Yes, well, these are very old relics. We've intuited that they've come from Western Tibet. They're very, very large and very dense black stone. They're a little bit similar to a Shiva Lingam stone in the heaviness of it. Mm-hmm. But they must be from some type of Himalayan rock in the area. The largest we have is 29 pounds, and they sit about 10 or 11 inches high.
Oh, this one's more than that.
How big is that?
Almost 14 inches.
I don't know if it's that big, but
We use metric systems, so we're doing translations here.
anyway, they're very big.
14 inches high.
Yeah, so we have 9 of them, and they are skulls, but they're sort of in between a skull and a head in their carving. I've and other people who have had them have called them star being forms, but they're not really like star beings. They're just have those very deep and big eye sockets carved like that reminds you of that. And they're very upright with a very rounded, domed head. And the first ones we had a very narrow chin. But we've got 9 of them. 4 of them are very, very large and heavy. 4 of them are about a bit smaller. They're about 7 or 8 inches high. And then I've got a 9th one, which is very small, about 4 inches high, which is still a good. Well, it's a good handful, and that's still very heavy, but that one was able to be carried around. So obviously these very big ones are, were not carried around because they're very, very heavy. So they're probably in like temple spaces or caves where they were, or for certain ceremonies, and the smaller ones were able to be more mobile.
They almost sound like they're a portal.
Yes, they're, from what we intuited about them, they created different meditational focal points for meditation. So they're very interestingly carved. And they're covered with this ingrained sand patina. And when that kind of wears away, we see glyphs on the back. And each one has different glyphs.
Yeah.
And where their eyes are, you start to see pupils of the eyes appear. It's very, very amazing.
It's
The largest one is 11.5 inches. I was just measuring it while you were talking.
wow. That's what drew you to them? I mean, everybody has their story where they get the calling.
Yes, well, as far as I know, I'm sure there's more of them, but I only know of less than 20, maybe 17 that I know of that are in the world. And some are in Holland, France, Spain, and USA. And I think it was in 2011, a man in Holland had one that I saw. And at the time, I wasn't sort of drawn to it. I thought it was interesting. And then a year later, I was offered, I had a sort of dream about one, or a calling that it was coming. And then I contacted a man who offered these to me that found them. It took a little while.
How many do you have?
9.
Liz has 9 out of 17.
Yeah, and they came in 2012, so it was around May in 2012 where they started coming. And then in 2013, I had a few more, and then nothing for 2014. And 2015, we at the end of 2015, we got the last one, the smallest one, called the Sun's Blessing.
Was the Regent the first one?
No, the first one was a smaller one, and her title, because they're given titles which describe their activity, and then they have a name. So the first one was called the singer. Olma was her name. But the singer was one who she sings these healing spiritual sounds in a way, which are like, to me, mandalas, and they sort of heal the land, and they're beautiful mandalas of light, and they sort of heal the land and other people. And inwardly I see colors and lights and forms from her, and she's very connected with sound. And her partner that came was called the seer, and Seer, and he was like a conduit that connected the cosmos with Earth. So it was like a channel, the seer. And these two were like partners, and they were smaller ones. And then the two larger counterparts of the regent, who was bigger, and his counterpart, the watcher, came later. And the regent sits upright. All the other ones look back, they lean back as if they're looking up at the stars. But the regent sits up, and I have two other ones that sit up. But the regent, when he came, all the communications and everything just flowed. He is like the ultimate talker and communicator, and we call him a catalyst for consciousness, because he really is able to communicate and convey very clearly all the information. So when
I said I hate to interrupt you, we're going into break, but we're going to continue this. Okay.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness in action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
Join Elliot Jollish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jollish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jollish Hour. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Before, I was wondering if the first two that came to you prepared your space for the entry of the regent and his counterpart. Because it seems like from what I understand about crystal skulls personally, anytime a high vibrational energy comes in or you're drawn to it, a preparation is almost needed of the space plus the potential caretaker. It's not everybody can really adjust to the energies that easy.
Yes, I'm sure that was the case. They were certainly amazing. Even physically, they felt like they vibrated. When you held them, you could feel, and it wasn't just me, it was other people who touched them could feel them sort of humming and vibrating. It was very palatable. And I don't know if it was because they're very different, that they set up something in your nervous system or blood pressure or something that you actually physically feel the vibration of them. But there was certainly a very palatable field that they created when you held them, very strong energy field.
Yeah, I was going to say, Patrick, I know you're the one that it seems to be that we're extremely drawn to Regent. I was wondering if they were preparing you to open you up to hear him, to be a channel.
First, Liz opened me up. Liz was the catalyst for me.
Okay.
Urged me because you really have to. I always try to think how to describe it. You have to learn to get out of the way. To get out of the way in your ordinary consciousness.
For channeling, he means.
Mm.
And so much of our ordinary inner life, our ordinary thinking and feeling, is disruptive. And of course, all meditation has been doing that for thousands of years. As long as there have been people, there have been different kinds of meditation or preparation. So that's really, I think, what happens. I think everybody has the possibility, without a doubt, but our ordinary consciousness gets in the way. So that was the kind of preparation, and I really owe that to Liz.
Yeah, I was thinking, you're perfect together. And from what
we have our moments, yeah.
Oh, well, believe me, I got my moments too. But ultimately, it seems that partners are drawn to each other to actually help and support each other in certain types of work. Not just, you have your everyday life and support life, but, the spiritual nature. Because, like you said, she helped, prepare you, whether you realized it or not.
Yeah, I eventually realized it. That's when she was successful. Yeah.
Because the region, I remember when they first were brought to attention, and it was like I said, I've always pictured it like a portal, like this universal consciousness, whereas other skulls and how we work with them, whether individually or whatever, is sometimes aspects of the person's selves or spirituality draws certain guides to them, and the information is brought through. Like I work with the Tara a lot, which brings forth a lot of the Divine Mother energies. The ones you have, and I'm so glad that you're both bringing out information. It seems so timely with everybody's awareness of the universal consciousness, that these are here, and ready to work with people. And, Patrick, from all the work that Liz did with you and the information that
it was hard work, yeah.
that, bringing through is really amazing. when you first met the Regent, when did it dawn on you that you were connecting?
Um, the gateways for human consciousness have always been just before you go to sleep and just as soon as you wake up. And for most people, it's much easier to grasp the gateway or the portal just when you're going to sleep, because when you wake up, usually it takes an effort, which you can learn to do, to grasp it before you go into your ordinary consciousness. So I began to realize that it was really not that difficult to remain in this gateway consciousness. But so that's what Liz did. But then I found it can be done at any time of day. Once you have a feeling for what that gateway is, you can remain fully conscious. You're not sleepy. It's not an Edgar Cayce type gateway where he had to actually go into his sleep and he didn't remember anything. This is a conscious gateway experience which you can have any time of day. And it's nothing new. People have been doing it forever. But for me, I knew about this sort of thing, but I needed to actually grasp it. I needed to actually have the experience of it. And as so often happens with anything else in life, once you get a feel for it, it becomes easier.
Did you find, I mean, not having any experience with the crystal skulls myself, when the Himalayan skulls came, all of a sudden, either I would see things or I'd hear things, and I thought, what is this all about? Am I losing it? Is this what I'm really hearing and experiencing? Did you have that feeling at all?
Not so much, because Liz really had more of an overview. I was very surprised at the amount of information, the storyline, the history. Because, of course, remember, Liz and I became involved back in the late 1960s with, the many of the. I started with Thomas Merton, who was the Roman Catholic mystic who died tragically, and then I went on to the more Eastern religions and so forth. So I was familiar with all of this kind of thing, but I didn't quite expect it like this. To be honest, I was quite surprised. So it was Liz who really guided it, and as Liz has recorded in her book, you don't need to have a head, as they called it. They refer to them as heads among themselves, not as skulls. It can be done at any time, anywhere. But that was the catalyst or the starting point for me. And as I say, Liz made it a lot easier than it would have been.
Yeah, I know we always the women pride ourselves that, we're more open to the intuitive, but you guys are catching up.
Well, Liz has a huge number of experience. In her first book, Liz records many, many experiences which she has had. And what I have been doing, I always say it's at a much lower, almost more of a primitive level, because it comes out as a story, as a description, as ordinary language, and not so much fantastic visions or incomprehensible light effects and so forth. It comes out in a more understandable, ordinary consciousness, ordinary language level, which is great if you're going to write about it. But in Liz's first book, she writes about all these amazing experiences long before the star beings. So there you go.
I know, like I said, that's why I'm so glad to have, Liz and you back on, because I called you wisdom keepers, and you are. That I was trying to figure out, what would be a wonderful title. And it's true. In Liz's first book and her background and things that she has brought through and seen, and even in the courses, I'm constantly learning from Liz. I have an interest in a lot of the Eastern esoteric and the shamanism. But when she sends me something, I'm going, oh wow, you know, I didn't think of that, or you have a very knowledgeable lady there.
We actually live right at the edge of a number of sacred sites, which I think it was about 9 years ago when I retired or I began to retire, Liz guided us to this location.
Mm.
And we were just out, as you know, yesterday, walking along the opposite cliffs, feeling these different sites. And yes, I guess you could say we were genuinely guided to what is now along the cliffs and on the lookouts looking out toward the valleys here. We are living now in something which is comparable to the Tibetan and other sites. So we imagine, anyway.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of areas being people are being drawn to, and I mean, I'm not just saying like in the states, Sedona, or some of the more well-known places that they consider vortexes. There's a lot of other areas like where you are, or actually even my little place in New Jersey. It seems like, I don't know, even one big matrix or something, and there's spots that we're all connecting that are these really energetic spaces don't everybody knows about, because most of the people that are involved in them, we're still learning. Oh, we'll have to continue this.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Their space or sanctuary in Australia, because so much information is offered there, and from Liz and Patrick are beautiful souls, and a lot of it is not just they're not teaching you, they're facilitators. You know, they're helping you awaken, and all these crystals beings there is it's quite an eye opener. Now, getting back to the Regent, I'd like to know a little bit more about him. Did he just take over, like you said, Liz? He just became the more talkative one, or?
Well, he's the communicator. So out of all the 9 ones, they each have different qualities that they teach. So, for example, he's like the talker, the communicator, the wise one, and his counterpart, the watcher, was more like the witness consciousness, which watched from this great universal expanse and could merge her being in this healing gesture, was more of a feminine type of listening, holding. And it was an activity of love, because to hold attention towards us, the planet, everything requires this devotion. And that was her quality, was this devotional holding space for another's consciousness, which we would, in our own awareness, call the witness consciousness or the watching consciousness from a higher perspective. So that's an example of her. And each one had a different thing. Like another one was a spirit traveler that was called the comet. And you had to have a one-pointedness to be able to expand out to the far distance of the universe. So this was teaching you about spiritually being able to go into these deeper and far realms. You needed this inner ability to have a center, a strong center. It was the same with the other big one called the Serene, and she was more going into the infinite depths. So you had to find an inner balance in yourself to be able to find that depths of being within you. And then there was the Wise, and that one is very still. That's a smaller skull. And she illuminates what is. She illuminates presence around you. And then the Divine is another small one, and that one sits up like the Regent. And that's a director. It's a director of the rays, and it sort of radiates out attention and is mobile, is very active.
So I was wondering, so if people who come to your center, and like I said, I know you have many, many very awesome different groupings of skulls, and each has a purpose. But if they came to want to experience the Regent and all the other, like, I don't know the right word, council, or the other ones that gathered around it, because actually they all seem to work together. Let's say if I came there and I said, I wanted a major, look, I need help. Help me remember. Would you work with all of them? Or would it be directed to maybe if the Regent didn't want to be involved, you would connect me with the Watcher, or how would that work is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, they work sort of all together. So they would be like in the room. But, if there is a specific skull in the room, I have 156 of them.
Yeah, I know. For somebody that didn't like skulls, I know.
So we usually don't have people handle the sacred ones, but the I have so many others, so they can handle and hold them during a meditation. But when we give readings for people, Patrick is usually holding the regent, and the regent speaks for the person. So they ask a question, and the regent speaks. And the experience is like speaking to a very kind, compassionate, wise man who has this cosmic consciousness. So it's beyond Tibet, beyond a religion. It's a universal awareness.
In these readings, I don't know if people really realize that they're available, that, they can be done long distance.
Oh, yes. I usually do transcripts, so I can do them by email, and Patrick will sit. And the regent very easily can do distance. There is no time and space for him. Well, and he could do Skype if people preferred that. We're able to do that.
Yeah, because I think that's really important to know, because I didn't want people to really think, all right, well, we're going to have to travel to Australia.
It's hard enough to travel out here from Sydney, so much less from somewhere else. Yeah.
No, so seriously, I think so that if everyone knows that if they're interested to experience this information, it is extremely unique, because a few years ago, I had asked for a reading, from the regent. And it's a very unique energy. It's not one that sort of comes down at you. It's like one that is observing you and giving you the whole plan. Just to say, okay, well, to have a universal consciousness look at you as another consciousness or spirit. It's very, very unique. I don't have the words for it, but I seriously do want people to realize this is available, for people to get information for, or to understand. And I know there's certain ones of this grouping that do healing. So is that, again, coordinated by the regent, or?
Oh, that's just from our attention. So if I'm doing a healing session, I can call in just with intention.
Now, this healing session is totally different. Liz is switching channels here.
Yeah, for if someone needs a healing, and I would do a crystal sound healing or with energy. Mm-hmm. And I would just intentionally, I usually call in the group to assist, and people can tangibly often feel that as support in the room. Yes, it's always evolving as well. So we're constantly learning, mm-hmm. and everything is new and evolving all the time. Yeah.
I have, the healing sessions, again, this is have to be in person, because I know you have wonderful energies and rooms to do this. It's definitely a healing center where you're at, especially the energies that, just surround you in those mountains. But have you tried it on a distance with all these intentions?
I haven't offered that, but yes, I could evolve to do that. Yes.
Yeah, because this is something that I'm picking up. It's almost like the healing centers of Atlantis.
The effect of, we have a separate part of the house. We have a wing of the house. And Liz has one room set up as her healing center with a particular, it's not a bed, it's a particular structure that reverberates that we had made by a carpenter. and she has all of the musical instruments and the crystal singing bowls and whatever. So you are in a space, in an environment, both visually and audibly. So that's probably why Liz hasn't found it as easy to translate into doing it on Skype, or because once you're in that room, you have quite a definite experience.
Yeah, that's what I said. In a way, it's a shame you're all the way over there. But I'm thinking personally, sometime in my life, I'd love to get down to visit you guys. But I think the people that are, in the Southern Hemisphere, I really want, for them to be aware of your existence. Because I know really both of you are so low key, but, just knowing you from all these years, I'm saying, wow, it's something very special. And, you've put so much dedication into it. And like I said, the thing with not star beings, with universal consciousness grouping that you have there is really something, because people have not talked about them. It's as if they've been waiting their time out for everybody to, upgrade, to be ready for them. I mean, it seems like different type of skulls come out. Maybe the first grouping with Max and, Shauna Na and, all the other ones that, followed. But it seems like a cycle to desensitize the fear that people have of, the crystal skulls. And now we're on a whole different level. And I think oh my heavens, this grouping is really important. All right, we'll be back and we'll find out what Liz and Patrick have coming up.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Come on down. You're the next listener of The Joe Show's second annual Salute to Game Shows, Price is Right Uncensored, a two-part series airing on Wednesday, March 9th and Wednesday, March the 16th. We will take you back all the way to September 4th, 1972, the first day Price is Right aired on CBS. The Joe Show speaks with longtime former producer Roger Dobkowitz, $1 Million Spectacular announcer Randy West, and longtime former Price is Right legendary host Bob Barker. So mark down Wednesday, March 9th and Wednesday, March 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern, OMTimes Radio on The Joe Show.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
As I always say at this point of the show, everything goes too quickly. We want to be able to touch upon tiny bits of, things. But my last statement that I'm going to make, and then I want Liz to give you information where, you can get hold of them and etc., is if you're interested in spiritual awareness and growth, to look into Liz and Patrick's work. Beautiful souls, warm heart, and very, very knowledgeable people. And I highly recommend them. And I can't say that enough because I think the world of them. And there's a very special place on this earth that has awesome energies that can really, really help you. So that's why I keep on saying this. Check them out and contact them. Okay, Liz, I'm not going to ramble anymore. I want you to let them know where they can get hold of you, if you have a newsletter, ways of contact, and a little bit about the book that you're writing about the region.
Okay. My website is www.alasenmat.com, and that is Alasenmat, which is the name of our healing center, which means walk around with light. So going to that website would take you links to buy the book on crystal skulls, and we have a new book on the Regent, which should be published this year. We're just in the editing process. And if you go to the website, there's also Ask a Question, and you can write to us and find out more information, get our newsletter, book a reading or a healing. So, yes, going through the website is the best direct place.
Well, that's, really good to know. And we'll see if we get that website out more because, like I said, there's so many sites in the world. There are very energy-wise and vortex, but where you're at is a very beautiful sacred site. And even some of the explorations, and it's not commercialized, which I like. It's almost like going to a special temple space. And with the internet nowadays, you're able to connect with people. There's really no excuse for somebody to say, all right, well, I can't get down there, so, I'm going to bypass the information. No. If you're serious, please check them out. And because even with the grouping with the region, and as I said, the gathering of his many components and circle there, they have not been brought out, but they need to be recognized in this crystal world. They're here at this point in timeline, and Liz and Patrick are the ones working with them and really find out about them. So, I mean, I'm really very excited about all your work, and, I'm really so glad that you did manage to, come on again. Like I say, special friends that will get up at this time of the morning to talk, coffee in hand, but,
It's 5:52 now, so it's not all that late anymore.
Okay. Well, you should see me at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like major brain fog. So if I was talking at that time, I'd be, okay, losing train of thought. So, it's really great. So besides the book and the editing, is there any workshops coming out or any new plans?
This
Sunday.
We have regular meditations and reading sessions, And we have one this coming Sunday for the equinox. Here it's the autumn equinox. So we'll have a guided meditation about the energies of that, waking up with that, and a reading from the Regent. And this year, I think I've planned a workshop on the energies of the central sun, which is also a theme that's come through the crystal skulls very strongly. And the last crystal skull that I didn't mention yet was the smallest one, which is called the Sun's Blessing. And that one really is this ability with to be sun-like and radiant, unconditional and shining like the sun, which was the virtues of all the holy people of the masters of these remote communities where they originated from.
And I think you bring a whole new perspective to crystal skulls. People that are seeking answers, they'll see the crystal skulls, and there's always that initial fear, or I don't want to be bothered, but they are energy tools for self-growth.
Yes.
And I really think that's what your sacred space is all about, is the availability of all these beautiful crystal beings being there for whatever gathering you have for individuality. So it's pretty special. And like I say, I always laugh because I know so much of Liz always telling me I'll never get involved with the crystal skulls. And to see her now, she has evolved into a beautiful, wise wisdom keeper who shares this knowledge with you, and somebody I extremely trust. And like I said, with Patrick and what I can't wait for the book to come out, honestly. So,
Patrick said the Regent is coming through with a message, if you would like to.
Oh, love it.
Receive that.
Yeah.
Allayah, it's that you don't need the Regent, you don't need crystal skulls, you don't need Alas and Mat, you don't need Allayah or anyone else. At every moment, you can achieve positivity, or you can intend positivity. In the first instance, only speak positively. As much as possible, only think positive thoughts. And finally, only carry within yourself positive feelings. And that's the order in which you can intend it throughout every moment of the day, starting when you're listening to this right now. This is not a new teaching. It's an eternal teaching. Try very hard at every moment never to speak anything but positive, or rather, speak positively. And then, as much as possible, think positively. And this will lead gradually to feeling positively and carrying positivity in the now moment, right now as you hear this, is the most powerful thing that you can do. And for that, it only requires your own intention, your own effort. And if you don't do it, the next moment, try again. So this three-part path of positivity is the message. And it's something every person can do. And the more often you do it, the more powerful it becomes.
And I really, really appreciate that, because so many people think that they're not capable of change, or how to do it, that they look for outside sources. And I think that message is reinforcing that there's something special inside of you, that just with the addressing every word you say of being positive. You're your own teacher. So this was really...
Every person can do it, and nothing else is required.
Yeah. And like I said, I know the skulls are something that I think at some point, maybe in the past or whatever, have brought the aha moment to many people. And now the work is for you to understand what's within you and to listen to the teacher within your own soul. So this is really, an awesome message. And very honored that you brought it, because I often thought of asking, but I'm going, no, I'm not going to do that to poor Patrick. So this was very, very special, and I do thank you. It's very, very important. So again, the end almost at the end of the show, and I really thank you for being on. And as soon as we'll get your books listed, and maybe I can drag you on again next year.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure.
I really thank you. And until next week, remember this message. Everything's within you. Use your own self-teaching and positive energy to create the world you want to be in. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.